So, welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here. We get to hear from Dr. Becky once again today. So, we're very excited to have her here. But I know Michael has something to say as an introduction. So, let's go.
Yes, perfect. I always like doing some little introductions here because I got to tell you that you know, like I said, I'm usually in the office doing these or sitting at the but I got to lean back, got a little golf injury here, put the knee up and and sit back and enjoy this because I'm going to tell you what, guys, we're going to talk about something like extremely serious. I mean, this is some serious stuff. And the thing is everybody has it. And if you don't maintain this properly in your life, it's just a guarantee that something somewhere is going to happen. It's a consequence. It's a consequence of it's a compounded consequence of a lot of things that can happen. So we talk about pond scum, and you know what? I'm going to give you an analogy of this stuff because this is a true story. It's because I want to do this before I introduce Dr. Becky, right? So back in the 80s, as we know, my brother and I were in some very popular bands, and we were taking a picture. It was like the last weekend of November, and we were by Lake Michigan. And when you're in Wisconsin, and it's that kind of in November, it's cold. I mean, it was really cold. But our bass player, who's on here watching, um, we took this picture. His dad was a professional photographer, so he was shooting pictures of the band, and there was this ramp that was truly about like this. So the background was like really cool looking into Lake Michigan, right? And here we are, we're in like short sleeves. It's like 29 degrees out, and it was crazy. And we're posing. And the girl that was the vocalist at the time, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna get a little closer up to you." And she moved, and this ramp had to been like, almost a half a block long. And she starts sliding down this ramp on her with her shoes until she hit the water because that was pond scum. That was, oh my gosh, you know what? It was bad. I'll tell you what, that was the last time we saw that band around anymore because that was it. She didn't want to be in the band because she slid down. She went into Lake Michigan. It's 29 degrees out. It was crazy. And that is biofilm. Okay. Understand that truly is biofilm. And we got that in our guts, in our body, in our nostrils, by our ears. It's everywhere. And you know what? Some really crazy things can happen if you can't get rid of biofilm inside your body. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, the microbiome. And the lady I'm going to introduce today, I've known like forever. And and I visited her and her husband way back in the day down in Tucson, and just always been friends. Just always got advice and working with each other. And now we're full time. There's a reason why this company exists. I can tell you that if anybody here wants to see my story, I put it up on YouTube. You can ask me for a link, and I call it Divine Clarity. That's what I got. I got some divine clarity, and I went down to one of the largest research centers in the world. And I'm talking about where they deal with some really wicked stuff. And once I got there and I spent 2 weeks, hung out with the doctors, did all these things, I couldn't believe it. They were using our protocol for everybody. Didn't matter how bad or how light the issue was, everything. It was amazing for me to see. And I just it was like I was having this experience that was it was again like I wasn't even there or something, because when I started seeing these people, and then everybody in there found out I was there and started shoving notes under the door, and we're talking like we are today. It just really resonated with me that I might be a megaphone because I can talk loud and stuff, but you know what? 1,000 microphones are way better than, just one megaphone. And today it was funny because a lady that's on here, has been connecting me with doctors. And just by talking about this story, they are just excited to get this out into the industry. These are the good ones, right? I mean, we got some, really good people out there. So, yeah, and Dr. Becky spoke. Oh my goodness, she spoke on stages all around the world, for goodness sakes. She was a medical director and for a company that was only doing like around 19 million. She got into that company and comes from a background of doctors and clinics and pharmaceuticals in her family. And I watched this person when I met her. They got involved in that situation, and in 5 years, she was a very big component of that whole situation there. I watched them take that company to over into $1 billion of accumulative sales. And you know what? Wait to hear what we got, because you know what? There's nobody in the world that's got what's going on over here. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about biofilm, and we're going to talk about why it's so important for you to really understand this, because you know what? We'll touch base on something right at the end that I'm going to talk about. So with that being said, Dr. Becky, it's your stage.
Thank you, Michael. It's always an honor. So I thought it would be good to just share some of my experiences in medicine as a gastrointestinal specialist, what I saw. And when I still talk to my friends that practice gastroenterology and pediatric gastroenterology, everything I saw when I was still in practice, and I've been out of practice for 20 years, what I saw back then was tragic in terms of how sick people were. It's 100 times worse. And it really does lead back to our gut. And so we're going to talk about biofilm, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the microbiome, how we balance. But when I was in practice, oh, I had so many patients with irritable bowel. And so a lot of people walking around have irritable bowel. It's the gas, the bloat, the distension, the abdominal discomfort, change in bowel pattern, or you can have a diarrheal variant or a constipation variant, or you can alternate. It just means that these trillions of bacteria that live in our gut, it sounds so gross, right? But when they're out of balance, when they're not good bacteria, then our gut just doesn't function. So we don't process, we don't absorb, our motility is off. So I saw a lot of irritable bowel, but I also saw a lot of inflammatory bowel. This is Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And we see so much of it nowadays. And the reason being is that when the microbiome is off, it can lead to significant inflammation in the body, because these inflammatory disorders don't just affect the gut, they affect every aspect of our body. So they're systemic inflammatory conditions. And of course, I saw disorders of the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine. I saw, unfortunately, a lot of cancer throughout the intestinal tract. And I also took care of people's gallbladders and their liver and their pancreas. And a lot of people were just a mess. So when I say you are what you eat, you are, and you are what you ingest. And you're also, in terms of putting things on your skin and exposed to toxicity, it has all these adverse effects on our body, but our gut is the most important thing. So back to the microbiome. So we have all these trillions of bacteria that live in our gut. And because of the toxic society we live in, what we eat, what we drink, what we're exposed to in the air, what we're exposed to at home, at work, has this direct effect on our microbiome. So when it's off, again, you're set up for inflammation. You're set up to have bad brain chemistry, because there's this gut-brain connection that now has been known for decades. It's called the gut-brain axis. So if your gut is healthy with a healthy microbiome, guess what? You're producing really good neurotransmitters from this microbiome that fuels the brain. So when people fix their gut, they fix a lot of parts of their brain. They notice energy and clarity and focus and better sleep cycles and better energy. And this is a super highway between your gut and your brain and your gut. We know that for a fact. But 85% of your immune system sits in your gut. And the largest endocrine system in our body is our gut. Our gut has everything to do with everything that's happening systemically in our body. So what's a biofilm? Well, it's like you said, it's pond scum, it's slime, It is gross because it's colonies of bacteria that start producing this substance. It's almost like a cement so that they create their community. That's biofilm. And mostly in our system, in our intestines, in our respiratory system, kidneys, our sinuses, mostly it's bacterial colonies. But you can have invasion of viruses, and you can have invasion of protozoa and parasites and fungus. And you can just have colonies of fungus, and you can have just colonies of viruses. But mostly what we're dealing with in the gut are these bacterial colonies, all these aggregates of bacteria that now have set up home, that now have a house made of quote unquote cement. So they are hidden and they're hard to get rid of. So when you came out with PhytoCleanse and I looked at the nutrients, the 3 types of magnesium, the enzymes, citric acid, potassium chloride, when I looked at the combination, and I know the research because I'm always on the National Institutes of Health and looking at their studies. I'm always reading what Ivy League colleges and medical schools are doing, studying things like this, the microbiome and the biofilm. The combination of what you put in the PhytoCleanse has been documented in study to absolutely destroy this biofilm, like to get through the cement, to then release all that bad, get it out of the system. I'm all about cleansing. It's been my mantra since 1999. But you also have to replenish and you have to refuel and you have to rejuvenate. So I'm going to talk a little bit about PhytoCleanse, how to take it, what it's actually doing. And then you need to be on a system. And because your products are organic and because your reds and your greens and your shake and your probiotics and digestive enzymes are all part of replenishing the good. We're getting rid of the bad, but we got to replenish with good nutrients to get that good bacteria back into balance. And then we have to get rid of, any setup of the biofilm. And then we have to prevent leaky gut. Leaky gut is what it sounds like. You have these little junctions in the lining of your intestine. And when the microbiome and the biofilm is just sitting there, it causes these junctions to open. And what happens? You leak toxins from your intestinal tract into your vascular system. And they circulate everywhere. And they circulate to your cardiac system, your kidneys, your liver, your brain. It sets up all kinds of problems respiratory wise. It sets up inflammation. Because when these toxins enter, it ignites the inflammatory cascade of our body. So when inflammation happens, our body starts falling apart. And when you look at certain cultures where they actually grow good organic foods and they eat seafood from pristine waters, these are communities that live into their 100s and they don't have arthritis and they don't have autoimmune disease and they don't have Alzheimer's and dementia and they're not falling apart from cardiac disease and they're not obese and they don't have metabolic syndrome or hypertension or high cholesterol, kidney disease. These are people that live healthy because they're living pure. In our society right now, and starting to be a global phenomenon, we are toxic. This is my mantra, my soapbox. Everything we do basically is just fueling toxicity into our body, causing something called oxidative stress. It's like rusting of the internal body. And if the microbiome is also unhappy, you're going to have this negative cascade of effects. And then the body just starts falling apart. So when you take PhytoCleanse and you're addressing breaking down that cement, that biofilm, that house that's housing that bad microbiome, and you're getting rid of it, then you need to stay on a regular dosage. Me, it's just 1 capsule a night. For some people, it's 2, or you can spread it out during the day. But in the beginning, you kind of want to jumpstart the cleansing process. You can do 3 in the evening, and you have to be hydrated. You have to be really good with your water intake. You can do that for 3 or 4 nights in a row, or you could take it up to 6 capsules, depending on your body mass index, depending on if you tend to run more constipated or dehydrated. Push the water, because when you take PhytoCleanse, these 3 types of magnesium are there to draw water into the colon, and you need that water in there to allow for effective movement. It's called peristalsis. It's called motility, so that you can take toxic waste out. You need that water to be dumped into the colon so you start to move. But breaking down the biofilm is because of all the enzymes you have in there. Those enzymes chip away at the cement, they get rid of it. The potassium that's in there, because when we cleanse, and if we're cleansing our colon and we're doing it the right way, you can drop your potassium levels a little bit. So you need to have some potassium in there because you need to support your cardiac function. And then there's something called citric acid, and that's to balance your pH, because we want to live in an alkaline environment within our body. We want to not be acidic. And so why do we have biofilm? Well, biofilm exists mainly where there's water. And you look at the experts, whether, whichever expert you're looking at, 60 to 70% of our body is water. So we're kind of a setup, and especially with all the toxic things that we put in our mouth and on our bodies or exposed to, we are just creating that toxic environment. And so we need to do something to cleanse that out and then replenish. So what I want people to really understand is that you need to create a lifestyle of trying to live organically as much as you can. And when you have a healthy body and a healthy gut, you're going to have a healthy brain. You're going to have a healthy liver, kidneys, respiratory system, strong immune system, strong endocrine system, and you're going to feel good. And that healthy body craves healthy things. And you and I talk about this. You kind of go off the wagon sometimes with your diet, and so do I. And when I do, I feel like garbage. I just feel horrible. So when I stick to my guns and I stick to your program and try to live as organically as possible, boy, do I feel good. And I feel strong, and I feel that longevity and that good quality of life, because our medical community can let you live to be 100 or more with machines and with drugs and more drugs, but that's no quality of life. I mean, when you adopt this type of quality of life with your type of quality of products, then we're creating a longevity that's worth living for. So, Michael, that's kind of, what I wanted to share in terms of, you got to cleanse, you've got to replenish, you've got to rejuvenate, you've got to support all these different systems, because you are what you put in your body. But if you've got biofilm and you've got a bad microbiome, you're going to feel lousy, and you should be eating prebiotics and your probiotics. Prebiotics are your greens and fruits. They are fuel for good microbiome to take your fruits and your greens and chomp on them and create better microbiome. And your probiotics deliver trillions of active microbiome, active bacteria that also help more of the bloom of this microbiome that's healthy. And you'll know, because your tummy's going to go flat. You're not going to have that gas, that bloat, those burps, that diarrhea, that severe constipation. You're going to realign, and it's get rid of the biofilm, rebalance your microbiome, and then watch what happens. So that's my mantra.
And I like that mantra. So guys, you know what? I want to add a couple things. I want to talk. And you know what? I think I might introduce our president, maybe. I think, tonight a little bit, and talk a little bit about the business. Give us about a 5 or 10 minute thing. I'm sure he's over there right now, papers flying, going crazy, because he's a note guy. I'm a shoot from the hip guy. But you know what? I was down for a couple weeks with one of the most genius researchers in the world. Not because I'm telling you that, because look him up. He is, and we talked about this. And they looked at our nutritional line that we have with the Sante Organics. You want prebiotics and the greatest vitamin in the world? Go take the B tabs. Okay. Our B tabs is the only product that is made by nature, the only product that is made by nature that is whole food and can sustain life. You could live on water in those B tabs and live a healthier lifestyle than anybody just on that. But it was funny, because when we got the Phyto Cleanse into the system, that's when the phone calls started coming in. And they're like, look, you could go down into a vitamin shop or a GNC, or you can go into a store and look down the aisle, right? And you're looking down this aisle and you're like, whoa, that's a lot of stuff. But 99.9% of the stuff in those aisles, you never, ever need to take. You don't. And here's what they said to me. They go, we look at what you got, and you're so spot on with every single thing that has to be done and needed for the body, that if somebody wants to be extremely healthy for the rest of their life, take that. And then they said, nothing more? You don't need anything more and nothing less. Follow that protocol. And that threw me against the wall when they said that. And then I started thinking a little bit about it. And I was like, look, I watch people and I hear this all the time. Oh my gosh, I need more focus, more energy, more this, more that. And then they start taking products with tons of stimulants in it and caffeine and all this crazy stuff. And when I went down to this center 2 weeks ago, I lived like everybody in there lived. And there was none of that stuff. Nothing. It was just all an organic lifestyle. And I was like, whoa. And the food was absolutely delicious. If everybody on here, you know what, would actually go onto Netflix and you go watch this documentary, and it's called Live to 100, the Blue Zones, that's what's going on. You can create that blue zone in your own house. Now, here's the thing. So people, right? You think about, oh, I'm tired. I need a nap. First off, you were never born tired. We're connected to this circadian rhythm that's around us in the world. What does that mean? So when the sun comes up, guess what? Our bodies are supposed to get up, right? And as that sun goes down, we're supposed to start gradually losing our energy. So we rest. It's a big component about this, about your life. We're trying to show you about your life here, right? And then it regenerates you throughout the night so you can go on for the next day. So if you're tired every morning when you wake up and you're dragging and getting ready, you know what that's telling you? I'll tell you what it's telling me. It's telling me that your cells they did not get any food to wake you up. And I'm talking what it needs to wake you up. Half the stuff that's in North America, they call food. That's crazy right there. But I'm talking good, whole food nutrition. So your cells didn't get any fuel or nutrients, right? And you get up, so now all of a sudden we need to start taking stuff. That's the worst thing you could possibly do for the human body. The worst thing. And then I'm sitting with these people for 2 weeks and they start talking about the stuff you're putting onto you. What are you putting on? Everything. It was everything. Everything from products that you use all over you all day long to everything is simple and the most carcinogenic, a Band-Aid. It was amazing what I learned down there, right? So at the end of the day, right, this is what concluded, and it'll stick with me for the rest of my life. Every little thing you do, no matter how small or how big it is, right? Or how large it is, you're participating in your life or you're participating in your death. And it's just that simple. And guess what? You get to make a choice. You get to make the choice. Do the right things. It's all right. Do the wrong things. Boom. What's Mike's number? No, I got to get fixed. You never have to get in that situation if you're doing the right things. You don't need that. So see, we can only in life give you this advice, hand this to you, right? So taking care of you is your responsibility. And I'm going to tell you something. Anything that you put on top of you, I don't care what it is, whether it's wherever you're doing it, skincare, hair care, whatever the case, putting on clothes, washing it and stuff that, put in place, everything. I'm going to tell you what, everything gets into your bloodstream in 26 seconds, and it will enter into your major organs in about 5 to 8 minutes. And what happens at that point, there's certain toxic chemicals that love that area or that area or that area. And I got some, and I went through and did some testing myself. And guess what they said? They couldn't believe the strength of my immune system. And what am I doing? You know what I'm doing. I make this stuff for myself and my family and my grandkids. And now I got great grandkids. Oh my gosh. I hope they don't start. Boy, that's crazy, I'm like, what, like 30 years old, and this is all happening, right? No, I'm just kidding. But the thing is, but it goes much further because again, I can't, just me yelling outside this door isn't going to, tell the world what's going on. But I'll tell you what, now we're going to talk about how you can take advantage of what's happening here, right? Because Dr. JJ is going to share a few minutes about what we do with this company. So I'm going to introduce you, Dr. JJ, and what Asante Organics is all about in a nutshell. There you go.
Well, thank you, Michael, and welcome everybody. Good to see everybody here. And what a fantastic job not only our CEO and founder Michael did, but also Dr. Becky. We always appreciate having you here. Dr. Becky was talking about our Phyto Cleanse. This is our newest product. And what's amazing is, as I think about this product, you hear all the information that Dr. Becky shared. If you're business minded, this product alone can make you a multi-million-dollar business. But above and beyond this, we've got 100 other products. And the great thing about our company is we create products that you don't have to convince anybody to take. These aren't any fads or gimmicks, here today, gone tomorrow things. Think about everybody you know, including yourself. Every one of us do the same thing every morning when we wake up. Our CCO, Daniel Winiger, says it's so awesome. I'm going to try to do a good job. But we wake up in the morning, and we brush our teeth, right? We're using some toothpaste. We wash our body. We wash our hair. We're putting on deodorant, putting on skincare products. We put on clothes that have been cleaned. The point is, all of these products that you're using and your friends are using, you're using them anyway. The only difference is we educate people. We educate people just like what Mr. Winiger said. If you put something on your skin in 26 seconds or less, it's in your bloodstream, and a few minutes later, it's in your organs. So we are dealing with an educated population now because of this. Everybody's got one of these. They've got a cell phone, they've got a computer, they've got access to the internet around the world. And people are getting educated with me or without me, with you or without you, about the dangerous chemicals they are putting on and in their body every day. And we have a solution. We've got over 100 products in the areas of nutrition, personal care, baby care, home care, essential oils, all made from the best ingredients on earth, organic, toxic free, you name it. So now, once you've educated a person that they can continue to use the toxic products that they've grown up with, or they can try Asante Organics products that are guaranteed to work as well, if not better than what they grew up with, and they're toxic free and organic, what are they going to choose? And this is a business opportunity. So now, for the first time, potentially, you can write off the products that you're buying anyway. And I said this was a business opportunity. For those of you that are watching this live or on the replay, I want to invite you to be part of this company. And you can become part of this company in basically one of a couple of ways. You can become a customer. We love our customers, but you can also help us get the word out and be a distributor, an organic influencer. And as you share this with people, as you educate people, and they go to your website that's running 24/7, even while you're sleeping with that circadian rhythms, right? As they become a customer or distributor, you can earn money. And the great thing is, just like the products they have been using, their toothpaste, their shampoos, their nutritional products, their essential oils, you name it, as they start to get low, what happens? They're going to instinctively, organically go back to the website and buy more, and you get paid over and over and over again. It's a very, very simple animal, and we pay you in 6 different ways. And for those pros, and I know there's a lot of pros on this call that have been in the industry before, I want to welcome you home, because we have never changed the rules. We've never changed the comp plan. We have a truly unlimited pay plan. And the last thing I'd like to leave you with is the people you share this with, who join us and join you on this journey to tell other people about this. As they get what's called an endless team bonus check, you can match that check 100%. That's right, I said that. So if you enroll one of those superstars, and you've heard about them in this industry, that go on to earn $10,000, $100,000 a month or more, you could be matching their check. So that should keep you up at night. So I could go on, but I do want to honor your time. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to our great CEO, Michael Winiger.
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here and for giving us your time. And if I leave you with anything, I think, I leave you with this. Look, timing in life and business is everything. Okay. We are living in a world that's going green. We can't stop it. We can't stop it. I look over there and I'm looking at the neighbor's house. I'm in a secluded place, but I'm like, whoa, he's got some solar over there. He's living in a green, sustainable housing that he built it with. Oh, ooh, look at that. He's driving an electric car. But guess what? I don't live in here. We live in here. This is where we live. Okay. And you know what? Right now, they claim that 8% to 9% of the people around the world are living the way we are talking about right now. They're very concerned and they're cautious consumers. How many times are you in places and seeing some guy reading a label? It's starting to be a way of life. And you get in front of a way of life before it becomes a way of life. I don't even want to tell you numbers because you wouldn't believe them in the first place. Okay. But it's huge. I was there once, my brother was there with me. So that's absolutely huge. And we're in this world that's going green that we can't stop it. Everybody, all the strategists and all the companies that predicted Microsoft and Google and Apple, they say, look, in about 8 to 9 years, 98% of the world's going to live like this. Right now it's 10. 8 to 9 years, they said it's going to be 98%. Where do you want to be on that? I want to be on the top of that. That'd be great. And you got this little bubble. The world's going green. And here's this little bubble of personal care, commodities, things that people do every single day without thinking about it, like Dr. JJ said. And guess what? That's a $9 trillion bubble. And nobody is penetrating that larger than this company. And I've been on Good Morning America, the Today Show, and we can go on and on and on talking about this a while ago. And now it's becoming a way of life, right? And that makes you, when you build a business with something like that, you create a fixed asset. What does that do? It becomes sustainable, viable, residual, and more importantly, generational. Something that you can give to your kids, to your grandkids, and your grandkids will be giving it to their grandkids. Because you know what? At that point, if anybody's using any toxic chemicals linked to crazy diseases, it ain't even going to be, we can't even talk about it because it's not going to happen. So we got to look at that. And you have to be really careful. That's the world we live in right now. And you don't want to hear that word. Nobody wants to hear it. It's terrible. And you know what? All you have to do is go, I know, again, get down to those places, watch how they make those people live. And then when you get home, you don't even want to live like you did anymore because that's a blue zone. Create a blue zone right here in your own place. And now you got a business connected to that. I don't know what more I can add than just say, Wells Fargo, where get that truck running over to your house because it's going to be big. So with that being said, I want to thank Dr. Becky. Oh my gosh, for her time. I'm sure we'll think of something to do on Thursday, right? I want to thank Dr. JJ. And I YouTubed my experience that I had for the last 2 weeks. That was awesome. And if you want to see that, you just reach out to me and I'll send it to you. And I'll tell you what, that one's going to knock you flat on your back. But it was divine. It was supposed to happen. And I loved it. So you know what? Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate and we really are gracious that you give us your time. And now it's about time we get out there. And like I just talked to a doctor here just recently, right before this call, this is something the world needs to know, right? And we're the carriers of that. We're the carrier pigeons. So, and when they all know it, I'll tell you what, huge. So thank you, everybody. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless your businesses. And if you have any questions or anything like that, I'm very easily accessible. Facebook, my phone, whatever the case might be. We all are. That's what we are. We're one big, lovely family. The the way it should be, taking care of each other. So you know what? Just reach out to us. God bless you guys. Peace out. And we'll see you again probably this week on another Zoom. I know I will. I hope some of you are there. I hope Dr. Becky's doing another one with me. We'll figure it all out. So y'all have a blessed evening, and we'll see you again. Back to Connie.
You surprised me. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Take care.
Perfect.